Any good Medical College of Virginia, now Virginia Commonwealth University story begins with this building, the Egyptian Building. Designed by Thomas Stewart of Philadelphia, it has served as home for the medical school since 1844. It probably looks very similar to what you remember when you were on campus here, but there are a few new changes and we'll take a look at them now. Every architectural gem deserves its own historical marker, and the Egyptian Building finally got its marker in 2007. Well, let's go inside and see what may have changed in this 177-year-old building. Here we are in the lobby that was renovated in 1939. One of the unique features of this building is the fact that it features two different styles of revival Egyptian architecture. The first, of course, is the 19th century Egyptian revival on the outside of the building, but then this wonderful lobby is representative of the Art Deco period and the Egyptian styling that was in fashion at that time. Hopefully this all looks familiar because very little has changed here. Let's go see the old auditorium where you probably spent many hours listening to lectures. It probably looks very similar to what you remember. The big difference is the modern technology that now allows streaming of videos and showing of all types of presentations. The auditorium is still used every year. First-year students begin here so they can enjoy the tradition of all the other medical classes who studied in this historic building. We're standing in the middle of the Kontos Plaza. The plaza shows off both the Egyptian Building and the Kontos Medical Sciences Building, both which complement each other. Behind us is the statue of Hippocrates. This statue was a gift of the Virginia citizens of Greek descent that came to the campus in 1985. You may remember when it once was in the center of the plaza, but it has since moved to the back and is still a focal point for students as they traverse this plaza. We're standing in the lobby of the Hermes Kontos Building. You may remember Dr. Kontos, who was Dean of the School of Medicine at the early part of the 21st century. This building is named for him. Today it's a medical research building. When constructing this building, the university tore down the old St. Philip Hospital. Some of you may have spent clinical time in that facility that started as a separate hospital for African American patients. To honor the women that graduated from the St. Philip Hospital School of Nursing, the portico from the old St. Philip Hospital was retained and incorporated into the design of this atrium. We're standing in the lower level of the Kontos Building. The auditorium behind me is used by medical students all 4 years while they're in school here, and is one of their main places to listen to lectures. This is truly hallowed ground. While constructing this building in 1994, construction workers discovered human remains that were in an old well. These were individuals that had been used for dissection during the 19th century. These remains are now resting at Virginia's Department of Historic Resources. In November of 2019, the human remains discovered in the well near the Kontos Building returned to Richmond, accompanied by members of the Family Representative Council and current students from the MCV campus. Memorial services were held at the Smithsonian, on campus near the site of the well, and at the Department of Historic Resources, where the remains are stored pending further research and appropriate permanent memorialization as directed by the Family Representative Council. We're standing in St. Philip Way. At the time of the university's 40th anniversary in 2008, there was a recognition that those attending the university didn't have a feel for the history of the institution, which is quite rich. So we took the opportunity to create this little walk through history. There are a number of stories along the walls of this passageway, which is called St. Philip Way, memorializing and remembering the women who graduated from the St. Philip School of Nursing. This is a very historic area in Richmond, Virginia. This area is known as Academy Square and has housed many academic buildings and hospital and other clinical facilities over the years. And some of the stories of these buildings are told on the panels that line the walls of St. Philip Way. We're standing outside of what was the old A.D. Williams Memorial Clinic. I'm sure you spent time here during your years at the university. The clinic opened in 1938 and was torn down in 2010. The university, again being conscious of its very rich history, decided to save the portico from the old A.D. Williams Clinic to remind people of the building that once stood here and of the clinic that was so important to many in Richmond. Anyone ready to eat? Look at the great place that students now have where they can dine outside in a little bit more temperate weather than we have today. We're just adjacent to the Patterson Garden. Probably many of you remember sitting along the brick wall to eat your lunch because there weren't facilities like this when you were going to school. Let's go in and see what they've done to Hutton Hall. You may remember that building. It was allegedly a student center, but not with many amenities. It has been completely renovated and is a very nice facility today. Well, this is the Hutton Student Center today. You probably remember this as the campus room, one of two eateries that was conveniently located on campus where you could grab lunch in your few minutes of spare time. This is actually a very historic building constructed in 1841 as the First Baptist Church, and it was designed by Thomas Hugh Walter, who was the architect of the wings and the dome of the United States Capitol. Again, with the history theme, he is recognized here with his story and a little of the story of the building. So wouldn't you have loved a study hall like this one? In 2007, this building reopened for student use. It's primarily a study hall or an eating location, as we saw downstairs. There are individual study rooms up on the second floor balcony and throughout the building, and then casual furniture or more conventional tables and chairs up on the balcony level. The Alumni Association supported this project and also worked on a history timeline of the Medical College of Virginia, then Virginia Commonwealth University, from its founding in 1838 through 2007, when this building was rededicated. We're standing in the lobby of the James and Frances McLaughlin Medical Education Center. This building superseded Old Sanger Hall, where you probably spent many hours studying in your day in school. This building features state-of-the-art technology and allows the medical school to expand its class to over 200 students in each year. One of the interesting features is the mural up on the wall. Some of you may remember it because it used to be in the old A.D. Williams Clinic. As part of the construction process, the mural was removed and conserved to remove many, many years of smoking by patients in the waiting room of the old A.D. Williams Clinic, and then was reinstalled here in the beautiful lobby of the McLaughlin building.
MCV President Dr. William T. Sanger saw this sculpture in the Brook Green Gardens in South Carolina and approached the artist Anna Hyatt Huntington about reproducing it for the entrance of the new MCV hospital at 12th and Broad Street that we know today as West Hospital. Huntington reproduced the bears in stone in 1941 because the original gray bronze was unavailable due to war conditions in Europe. The bears, a Native American symbol of health and strength, remained in this spot until 1987, when they were brought inside to protect them from the effects of air pollution. Since moving inside, the Bears have rested in a number of spots until 2008, when they took up residence here outside the hospital gift shop named in their honor.
If there's one constant about life on campus, it's construction. Those of you here in the period from 1977 to 1982 had to live through the construction of Maine Hospital. In the 90s, it was construction of the Contos building and the ambulatory care clinic, and the building and the growing just goes on and on. Behind me, you see the construction of the new Children's Hospital. It's just one of two major building projects that are ongoing right now, including the Children's Hospital and the adult outpatient clinic, which is a very exciting new development that will help alleviate the traffic congestion that is so characteristic of coming on campus. Thank you for joining me for this brief tour of the MCV campus as it is today in 2021. I look forward to answering any questions you may have about MCV campus today or about MCV campus in the days when you used to walk its streets and pathways.